Because I've got a special guest here for a little bit of an impromptu Liquored Up Live. I'm going to introduce him in due time, but a quick bit on that. So, long story short, earlier today, tried something new. Just said, hey, just threw feelers out there. Said, hey, I'm ready to talk a little bit about some fucking video games. And I think some people saw that and they basically stated that, hey, I had a guest that took me up on that, and he's here with me. And he's got a YouTube channel too. And so I'm going to introduce him now. He can tell you a little bit about himself, and we'll get rolling here. But this is Crimson Rosso. So how you doing, buddy? Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hello. Thank you so much to Flipping the Switch for having me. As he stated, I'm Crimson Rosso. I am an RPG YouTuber. I do a lot of reviews of RPGs and just talk about RPGs in general. I just love the genre, so that's kind of been my thing.
Fantastic. Yeah, me too. RPGs have fast become one of my favorite genres as well. Now, whenever somebody introduces themselves as an RPG enthusiast, we gotta have the opening question though, and so that is that RPGs for most people. Now, some people shock me with this, but for most people, it's not the opening genre that they started with. Or JRPGs, kind of like strategy games, kind of like other games, first-person shooters. These are games that you learn after you gravitate from a smaller game or kind of a platform game, something like that nature. So I guess my first question is, how did you get involved in this hobby? What was the first game you remember really falling in love with and being like, "Yep, I definitely want to be a gamer." What game was that? Where give us your origin story, I guess.
Don't mind if I do. My first ever game was when I was just a wee lad living with my parents, and we had a Nintendo 64. So when we got that, the first ever game we got was Super Mario 64. That was the first ever video game I played and beat, and the first ever game that made me just fall in love with games in general.
Mario 64, see, that's awesome.
I,
And I just loved it. And what I love about that is it kind of shares the varying experiences that different gamers have. Because give you my kind of story involving that. That's basically when I exited console gaming for a long time. Actually, was the N64 and the PlayStation. So
really?
yes, I was an NES baby. Although I really came into gaming later on. So I learned gaming by watching my dad play Super Mario Brothers and trying to emulate his movements, basically. Um, Later would graduate to things like Contra, Legend of Zelda. And then I ended up having a Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and that's where I spent a vast majority of my gaming console time for most of my life. Because what ended up happening is I basically kind of tuned out after the N64 PlayStation era because I was looking for that tactile, uh, you know, console gameplay, and I saw everything shifting to 3D. Saw 3D. Mario 64 was fun, but it wasn't Mario World. And I remember thinking to myself when I first jumped into the N64, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but I can't wait to see what they do with this 64 bits when they make a 2D Mario game. And then it never fucking came. And I waited 18 years for that shit. But
Yeah.
my first RPG actually was a game called Dragon Quest 3. So that was an NES game, all time classic. And then of course the Super Nintendo was a fucking RPG Shangri La. So what was your first RPG in terms of that you fell in love with?
That is actually a very easy question. Funnily enough, it is Pokemon Emerald was the first ever RPG I fell in love with.
Yeah, people always forget about the Pokemon games, and they are RPGs. People forget about that because Pokemon almost gets into like a fucking category of its own. But most definitely
Yeah.
RPGs, and the metagame surrounding those is just fascinating. Like I've always, I don't play Pokemon as semi-professionally as I used to anymore. But back in, I was one generation behind. I was gold and silver mainly because that was the last portable I had. I was really good at those games for general. But in terms of the metagame, I've always kept up with, and it's just amazing what they've added generation to generation, like the different complexities and the different setups people have. And Now you literally have certain setups that you know you're going to run into, and so you've got to have a counter on your team for. And so Pokemon's always been something I've kept tabs on, even if it's been from afar at times.
Same. I have not exactly been in love. It's actually the Switch era that kind of knocked away my love of the franchise with how they handled those games on there.
Oh,
But I still like to try to keep up with what the franchise is doing because it means a lot to me. It's the first RPGs I played and fell in love with. Nowadays, my RPG taste is more in stuff like Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Trails. It's that kind of stuff. But I still care about Pokemon and want to keep up with what's happening.
well, and that brings us to actually where we got together is that Kingdom Hearts review you did on that on one of those endless fucking spin-off games. And you were basically critiquing it
Oh
and
yeah,
being like, God, that's a rabbit hole I definitely want to go down. But before we touch on that, what do you think about the way that Pokemon's been treated in its next generation debut? First, we had, what was it? We had Sword Shield, and I had fun with Sword Shield, but I couldn't honestly tell you it was a great fucking game. And then Scarlet Violet, I also had a lot of fun with, but I'll be honest with you, I've got to express that that was unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable in terms of
yeah.
what the product you gave your customer. And to my understanding, it still hasn't been fixed. I don't know. I haven't revisited it. I kind of put that one on the back
Uh,
burner. I was working on a review of that game, but I'm like, wait a second. I said, let me give it some time. Not that it's going to help, because here's the thing about me, Rosso. I play the game as it is on the actual card. So it's the Shigeru Miyamoto statement that, hey, a bad game is bad forever, and they think they can fucking get away with this shit by patching games endlessly. No, you can't. I'm here to put the historical record straight. Your game was fucking shit, and your game will always be
in,
shit as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to record that for posterity. So it's not that it's going to help to put some distance on it, but I was so irritated by some of what I saw that it's like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Go ahead and keep to my rule, and you will never see me review a game that is just out currently. I like to get outside that hype window. A lot of people, a lot of algorithm goblins on this fucking platform were like, "Oh, I've got to review the game right now because this is where all the hype is. Because I got to get views and I got to get clicks and got to get people streaming into my fucking Ko-fi. Got to get some people buying me a fucking coffee on Ko-fi. Fuck all that. I don't care about all that. What I care about is making sure that I give a damn good look at any game I play outside that hype window. So I'm going to do that for Pokemon too. It would have been fair to do it during the hype window, but I do I do look forward to putting my scalpel on that game a little bit. That's going to be happening probably within the next year. At least I say that, but fuck, I can't even get done a fucking Space for the Unbound review I've been doing for God knows how long now. But anyway, so I guess that's enough of my
yeah.
monologue. What's your thoughts on the current direction of the Pokemon company, and what are they called? What's the name of the actual company that makes them? That's just lazy as hell.
It's Game Freak
Game
and the
Freak.
Pokemon Company.
And I've seen a
Okay.
couple videos on that just make me wonder how how they can get away with this or why they are the way they are. But what's your speculation?
Okay, so for a little bit of context before I start, also hello there, Matt Belmont. Good to meet
What's
you.
up, Matt? Yeah, what's up, party people?
Okay, so a little bit of context here is me as a Pokemon fan. I grew up a lot with the franchise. I beat every game multiple times when it came out, every gen, always got them day one. So Scarlet and Violet were the first ever Pokemon games ever that I did not finish.
Oh shit! So
That's
you didn't
my
even
anger
finish.
towards how those games. Yeah, I never finished Scarlet and Violet because I was just too frustrated with the game's technical issues. Pleasure to meet you as well, Belmont. And it is just something that made me so actively angry. And in my mind, I think what bothers me the most about Scarlet and Violet is that if Pokemon Company and Game Freak did not keep trying to rush these games out, this probably could have been the best Pokemon game we ever got.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think that they feel like they have to tie it to the merch, to the anime, to the constant um, increasing of the Pokemon sizes. I think that's a big part of it.
Yes, and it also is not very much helped by the fact that they want to keep adding all of these Pokemon, with their motto being "Gotta catch them all." But at the state it's in with the Switch, like you're looking at maybe 300 Pokemon being in the game tops if you want that to run well. It's very much, I feel like Game Freak and Pokemon Company are being crushed by their own sense of scope. They want their scope to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, but that's not going to help them in the long run. It's just going to make the devs work harder, and they're not going to be able to get out the products they want.
Definitely think that's a big part. Another thing I would like to add in there that I think is also kind of slow crushing them as well is if you look at those games, if you look at even the early Pokemon games, like if you look at how they're optimized, this is that video I was talking about. So there's one of the games where there's somebody named Cynthia who's like again, I haven't played that game, but apparently this is a big deal person in the Pokemon community. But Cynthia walks off screen. Now, any coder worth their salt would just have that be a specific cutscene where that happens and she exits. No, basically they have that sprite basically loaded in that screen anytime you go there, and then she walks off only in that specific cutscene because they're so shit at programming and optimizing. So I think it was easier to hide on the Game Boys and the DSs where they didn't try to go HD. I think once they got on an HD platform in full 3D, I think they still want to do the big scope of a Pokemon world that was actually pretty impressive on the Game Boy. But I think that what they're running into is when you get into that HD generation, it's the same thing that Final Fantasy ran into when they ran into that brick wall in Final Fantasy 13, where because of the expenditures of HD that they weren't prepared for, you ended up basically being in a fucking tube or a hallway the entire game with a giant fucking room opening up at the end. And that's kind of what I feel like is happening with like Sword and Shield, definitely. And then when they tried to go full open world, you see it all over in Scarlet Violet. Like, and again, I don't mind some of the bizarre glitches. I'm fucking used to that. It's Pokemon. But when there's no interiors in your world, like no fucking interiors, and when man, I
The game runs at like 5 frames a second.
yeah, the chugging frame rate, and again, this is we just got Tears of the Kingdom, so I don't necessarily accept that it's a Switch limitation. We got The Witcher 3, and we got Tears of the Kingdom. Like they could fucking do
and
it.
and and Xenoblade 3. Like
And
that launched
Xenoblade
the
3.
same year as that game.
So they could do it if they had a team that was ready to do it. And again, full disclosure, still had fun with the game, guys. I did still have fun, but there's a difference. I can set aside the fact that I had fun with the fact that that's not acceptable as a product in terms of the
Yeah.
way that ships and what I'm. But here's the thing, being real with everybody. If we keep buying it, and I'm guilty of this too. I fucking bought Scarlet Violet. If we keep buying it, it's gonna keep happening. And if I'm being honest, we'll keep buying it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what it
Like,
is about gamers. I don't know what it is about the fact that we just seem to be a captured audience. I try my best not to be, but boy, when with the stuff we like, we are a captured audience, and it doesn't help us in terms of the different things that these companies are pulling on us.
yeah, true. I feel like the concept is like I can kind of give a pass to the people who bought Scarlet. We didn't see anything that would state that the game would be this like busted or broken. We didn't get a demo or anything like that.
Well, no wonder.
Like, so I kind of, yeah, like we just got the game, which I am kind of hoping that the next game they make, they give us a demo. But I don't really have any high hopes, is my issue.
Well, and that's what you want to look for. So I often say that the sales of a current game are going to be a referendum on the sales of the prior game. So we're going to see. We're going to see what Scarlet Violet's effect was when the next Pokemon launches. No matter how fucking good it is, my prediction based on what I see in other franchises where people have expressed displeasure, my idea of what's going to happen is I think that game is going to be lesser than what it could be. I think you're going to see a sales drop. I don't think it's going to be a huge sales drop. And I think you're going to have to factor population increase in order to see it. But I do think it's going to be there because you can't put something out like that and not see a pop drop. But we got Belmont saying, yeah, pleasure to meet you, Rosso. And yeah, Belmont's great people, man. Belmont's great people. He says,
He
that's why.
seems like it. Let me
Yeah,
can I go to his channel?
he has a
I'll
great
do that
YouTube channel
later.
too. So definitely give him a man a sub.
Okay.
He's got some great shit. He's starting to branch out. He's got started based on Castlevania content, hence the name, and he's got a lot of dope Castlevania content. But there's some other shit there that's really good.
Yeah.
And Belmont says, that's why I haven't bought Scarlet and Violet, but I will buy Legends Arceus eventually. That game looks dope. Yeah, from what I played of Arceus Legends, I haven't finished it, but that game was a lot of fun. I think that had a pretty positive reception with the Pokemon community. Haven't played a Pokemon game since Crystal on my Game Boy Color back in the day, he says. Yeah, that was kind of my last game, that and Silver for a while.
Yeah, also, if you get a chance, Belmont, do definitely get Arceus. It is genuinely what I think the Pokemon franchise should do going forward. So good.
Arceus is good. Yeah, I think the fans are trying to tell Game Freak what they want, and we'll see what happens. Only that's the thing. Like, and you run into this with every franchise I've ever been a fan of, man. You run into this everywhere you go. So, and that is the fact that you have the customers' expectations and the customers' wants versus the developers and what they're willing or what they're able to do. Only the customer has a right to be selfish. I say this all the time because the customer is the one with the money. In a battle between the people with the money and the people with their handout, the people with the money win every fucking time. If you've set yourself up to be a customer to business model, and I don't care if you're a company, I don't care if you're a YouTuber, if you've set yourself up with that kind of relationship, the customers and the people who go to your channel, they will own you. And so, no shade if anybody decides to do that. If you decide to start a business, if you decide to start a channel, if you decide to start an endeavor, but once that involves customers, once you're asking for money, your creativity is over. You don't get to be creative anymore. You don't get to drive the bus anywhere you want to drive the bus. You drive the bus where I tell you to drive the bus. And so that's an important trade-off that people need to understand. It's not for everybody. And Nintendo, to me, is a classic study of this because you get to see it throughout the generations. You get to see what happens when they're in sync with their customers, and you get to see what happens when they're not in sync with their customers. And maybe you can say that about any console, any system, any company. But with Nintendo, oh my God, the ebbs and flows are just fucking night and day, man. Just night and day.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen a company that is more willing to buck their customer expectations to their own detriment at times. It's pretty incredible to watch. Like, imagine not making a 2D Mario game for 18 fucking years on a console. Just imagine that, man. Just imagine you have.
Was that really when?
That's a real thing.
Hold on.
Yeah, Mario World, the new Super Mario
Really?
Brothers. We counted up. Yeah, 18 years. They didn't make.
Jesus, 18. I thought it was like 10. I know. Wow.
No, they did not make the most popular game in the world. Keep in mind, this before GTA 5. They did not make the most popular game. It's still the most popular series is 2D Mario in the world for 18 years on a console.
Jesus.
And the reason they didn't do it, you can go back and you can look at Miyamoto interviews. He says, I've made that game before. I do not want to make that game again. Well, guess what, fucknut? You have to make that game. You're a fucking business and your customers want it. Like, unbelievable arrogance at Nintendo going on in that entire era. Basically from the end of the SNES era all the way through until like basically the Wii. And then they tried their bullshit again post Wii with the Wii U. How'd that fucking turn out for you? But they're back.
Pretty bad, but now
they're back. They're once again, in sync and out of sync, man. And as a businessman, I've never seen anything like it. I thank God they manage their money as well as they do, because goddamn, they should probably be out of business at least twice. There's at least twice they should have been out of business probably if they managed their money bad. But yeah, the Switch
Yeah,
is a total turn. Like the Switch is my favorite system of all time, so it's my favorite.
it's probably my third favorite.
What's
The N64 again is just like third is Switch, second is Nintendo 64.
What
So
you
just
started with, yeah.
And number one is the PS2 because that's what got me into Kingdom Hearts.
All hail the DVD player, because yeah, nothing's ever going to catch that system. I try to tell people that, like I've been telling other folks about that too, because everybody's like, "Well, yeah, it looks like the Switch is going to catch the DVD player in sales." I'm like, "No, it's not." Again, that's a very basic bitch fucking sales analysis. So riddle me this, Rosso. If the Switch sells 156 million units, is it the best selling system of all time? If it hits 156 million?
I don't think so, because I think the PS2 has more than that.
Well, I think let's take a look at that. But I think it's 155 million. But let's see here. PS2 lifetime sales. Oh no, 158.
Damn right back.
Yep, you're right, 158 million. So so let's say this. So hypothetically, Switch in 2023 hits 159 million units. Is the Switch now the best-selling system of all time?
I believe so.
No.
Oh, really?
The answer is still no. Now, Zoo, you're crazy. What are you talking about? 159, small, larger number than 158. Well, yeah, it is. When did the PS2 come out? Now I'm gonna paradigm shift you, just like I do everybody else on this show. What year did the PS2 come out? You can Google it. I'll let you Google it, and you can tell me what year.
All right. 1 second, Roni. And yes, I totally agree with you, Matt Belmont. PS2 gang for life.
All hail the DVD player. It will never be topped.
It came out in Japan. It came out in the 2000 for both, for just everybody.
So let's, for the sake of, for everybody, 2000. So 2001, let's say. 2001 global population.
I'll say 4 billion.
It's 6,230,746,982 estimated global population in the year 2001. Now,
that's okay.
Now 2023 global population. 8,045,311,447. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay. So the PlayStation 2 launched in an era that had about 20% less people. The PlayStation 2, the DVD player, as I like to lovingly call it, launched in an era where it did not have console access to China. You could not buy consoles in China. There was a console ban. So of those people, there's a billion of them, probably more, no access to them as customers. Now to buoy that, the PlayStation spent most of its life in good economic times. But you see what I'm getting at. There's more to it than just a straight numbers by numbers comparison, which the lazy ass fucks in the games industry, that's all they do. All they do is they do direct comparisons. Like, hey, morons, you can't do a direct fucking comparison 20 years across time because the macroeconomics are shifting constantly. Everybody take a shot. I said macroeconomics. I said it. But they're constantly shifting. You can't do that. So what you would have to do is you would have to apply fucking 23 years of population increase and you have to do a percentage calculation, and you would have to add that to the 158 million that PlayStation 2 sold. And so once you do that, Switch is not catching that, not in its lifetime. It's not. Now, I'll go further now, buddy. Isn't the Switch a hybrid console?
It is.
It is. Yeah. Now, isn't So, Rush Dog, real quick to introduce my train of thought here. What up, Zoo? Dabbing macroeconomics adjustment on my bingo card. Yeah, we got Liquored Up Live bingo. Shit.
Welcome, Rush. Hello.
And then Belmont says great Final Fantasy games on the PS2. Well, we'll save that because that'll launch us into another bit of discussion. But so now, okay, so it's a hybrid console. That means it has portable and it has console. So didn't Sony make a portable console at that time too?
I believe it was the PSP.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's see what the PSP sold.
Hello, Rush. Good to meet you.
PSP sold 80 million units across the world in its lifetime. So now add that.
That is pretty nuts.
So now, if we're being fair and we're looking at the total market impact, let's add in the 80.79 million units to Sony's 158 million DVD players, and let's adjust that for the macroeconomics. Let's adjust that for population increase. Let's look at what the impact of not being available in the Chinese market would do. Now, do you see where I'm getting at? Do you see where I'm getting at? The Nintendo Switch in any, and by the way, that's not even like a true economist analysis. That is as basic as it fucking gets to include the fact that they never include population increase, the fact that they never look at like the way the market conditions when the PS2 launched. Like, for example, it launched during it spent most of its life in positive economic conditions. Whereas something like the Nintendo Wii suffered from bad economic conditions for half its life. None of this shit is ever accounted for in the games press. It never accounted for. And that's what I mean when I say that the games press is more a mouthpiece for game industry hype, and it's not actual journalism, most of it. It's just not. That is as basic as it gets to not compare a system that came out 20 fucking goddamn years ago to a system that literally is out today, and not understanding that there's more people in the world today than it was 20 years ago. It's deliberate. I swear, it's absolutely deliberate. Like they, it's either that it's deliberate on and I don't even mean on a conspirational level, man. I mean it's a level that like they hire people that are just idiots that don't even know how to do a basic macroeconomic comparison, and it just pisses me off. But anyway, there's my tangent. But what do you think of that? What do you think of that fucking that thought train I just spewed?
It makes a lot of sense. I can understand. Like, yeah, I myself never really factored that in, mainly because I really just don't super care about console sales. To me, it's always just been if I like the.
Well, 100%. But the reason that I bring sales up is because sales can kind of tell you where the industry is going or where it should go, and sales can kind of help you chart that future. So sales are important. I always tell peeps like it's good not to care about sales because sales ultimately the day are exactly that. They're unless you're the company president, why do you or a shareholder? The fuck do you give a fuck? Well, one reason I would say to give a fuck is because if you do more sales and you see that happening, you can be willing to bet you're going to get more of that thing, and vice versa. Now, not always, because you've got companies like Nintendo that just do whatever the fuck they want to do anyway. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but for the most part it can kind of help you chart whether something's gonna be a bomb or something's gonna do something in the future. So Rush Dog says it's for sure deliberate. Why would you publish a more thorough analysis? It just makes you look bad. Exactly. So the reason why you don't hear a lot of population increase, things of that nature, differing markets, opening and emerging markets, the fact, like, for example, the NES was basically behind a fucking iron curtain its whole life, so that never gets brought up. The cartridge shortage of 1988 never gets brought up, Rush. And the reason for that is that, long story short, if you're a shareholder, you just want to hear the good news. And so basically, you can't lie to your shareholders. So what you do is you present the information in a very anemic way that makes you look as good as possible. And yeah, it sure doesn't look good. As good as the Nintendo Switch is, what's Nintendo going to do? Go out there to their shareholders and be like, yeah, we're doing good, but if you factor in all these other things, but if you factor these things in, we're not doing as well as you might as what it would look like if we didn't factor them in. So they just don't factor them in, and the games press just willingly helps that. So that's I guess why sales are important, is because giving a true sales outlook helps chart the direction of systems and games. So, for example, the fact that they were able to positively spin something like the fucking GameCube is why we got what we got in that generation. And I would argue that if they had not had as much of a positive spin around that system, maybe just maybe Nintendo would have had felt the pressure from the shareholders and might have pulled out of that and not needed the Wii in order to bail themselves out as a company. Same thing with the Wii U. You could see it for years. They tried to spin that positively, although even the press turned on them there. And we got a Switch as a result. So I think it bears me out, but I don't know. What do you think, man?
No, I think it's true. I think that kind of stuff is very much something that, because again, these are big companies. There's always going to be presses who will find any good they can, but there are also presses that will find any bad they can.
Yes. Yeah, that's you always hear these folks talk about, oh, the companies are biased against the press is biased against Nintendo, or the press is biased against Sony, or the press is biased against Microsoft. And I always kind of chalk this up to fanboy chatter because it's like you can't all be right about that,
Yeah, the infamous Xbox tax thing going around recently has probably been the biggest example of that.
So explain that shit to me because I still don't really understand it. Like, what is the Xbox tax?
So the Xbox tax is basically a lot of people saying that journalists are basically always going to give an Xbox exclusive a lower ranking because it's solely on Xbox. It's mainly fanboys trying to gather pity points. Like,
okay.
there are going to be outlets that are very biased towards Sony and like all these systems, but they act like everyone is listen to any reason is the problem. So these people want to spread it as a way of,
I mean, I remember,
well, this is so and so, and this is why.
I remember Hi-Fi Rush getting a lot of good coverage.
That's the thing. You can tell them Hi-Fi Rush can get good coverage, but they will always pretend that it didn't get good coverage because it didn't win Game of the Generation. Like, they believe that they're like the Sony fanboys who believe they're entitled to every game of.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. Okay. So, well, thanks for explaining that to me because I've seen that, and again, I could look, but I don't do Xbox. I'm just too fucking lazy to care because I just don't play Xbox. So, and again, that's nothing against Xbox peeps. So if you play Xbox, more power to you. I'm not gonna trash your system. I think people should play what they want to play. If you want to play PS5, play PS5. You want to play Xbox, if you want to play on Switch, sure, most of the world does. But I'm not going to trash anybody's console of choice. That's it's people going to play what they want to play on PC, Steam Deck. Although the Deck Bros were really fucking annoying for a while. I look for them to return to the discussion now that they've got the Steam Deck OLED. I'm sure we'll be hearing the Steam Deck evangelist show back up. But man, they were really annoying for a while.
Yeah, I remember those guys. These were, even as someone who owns a Steam Deck, like, I'm slowly getting more and more into PC gaming. So,
well, and what I like about the Steam Deck is, what it actually represents to me is kind of the first tentative steps toward that. But more importantly, what that was, and I don't think a lot of people noticed this, is it had a Linux operating system. So that was Steam's kind of fledgling baby's first steps at divorcing themselves from the Windows operating system for games. Because it had a Linux based tech on it. So what's really cool and interesting about that is if they manage to do it, if they manage to make a successful non-Windows operating system platform for gaming, that's actually fucking bigger than the Steam Deck as a product. Like, that's fucking huge. Like, that literally is like breaking Microsoft's monopoly on gaming operating systems, which is crazy cool. So I'm rooting for Steam Deck as a product. I just fucking hate its customers. I hate the fucking Deck Bros. Like, who literally
yeah, the Deck Bros.
they're annoying as fuck. They're annoying as fuck. As a Switch centric channel. Oh yeah, Steam Deck could do that. Steam Deck could do. It's like, go fuck off. Like, who cares? That's not what we're here for. Like, yeah, Steam Deck's a cool product. Like, you just go and you enjoy your 3.5 hours of battery life on that, or that hour of battery life on that super big game. You go enjoy it. I'm not bashing your shit. Um, but it's not a mass market product. It was never designed to be a mass market product. So I don't know why you're in here fucking crowing and comparing it to the Switch. Do you really want to get fucking bodied? Like, we can have that sales discussion, but I don't think you want to. I don't think fucking Valve wants to, because they won't even put the fucking public sales numbers out. It sold multiples of millions. Like, what the fuck? And to be fair, Valve doesn't have to put the sales numbers out because they're a private company. But I think this is all a pointless bunch of bullshit with these deck bros, because I don't think Valve views it as a competition with Nintendo. I think that's something that's in the head of deck bros. I don't think that's something that Valve is trying to do. But that would be my advice to Valve. Like, Valve, maybe get your deck bros on a leash, because they are the worst fucking public outreach effort I've ever seen. And I know you're not doing. I know that's not your intention, but God, if you can find a muzzle and a leash for these fuckers, like, definitely do it. It'll help. It'll help the Steam Deck OLED out 100%. I still don't have a Steam Deck just to spite deck bros. Although I will say, being able to play Morrowind on the go with mods is a hell of a fucking reason to get an OLED. So I might do that,
actually. Yeah, that's sort of why I got it, so I could play stuff like Dusk, because I love those kinds of crazy boomers.
Oh, boomer shooters are fucking
on the go. Just
yeah. How have you liked your Steam Deck? So as a non-deck bro evangelist, tell me, like, as an actual fucking human, an actual person, tell me a little bit about the Steam Deck. What are you thinking of it?
I like it quite a bit. It was my first ever introduction to PC gaming as a whole, because like I didn't really game a lot on PC until I got it, and it's just kind of nice. Big games just carrying around. I wish the battery life was a bit, honestly.
Hopefully the OLED.
That is easily my biggest gripe.
I hear the OLED fixes that, but again, probably don't want to.
Yeah, but I'm
dump another 700 fucking.
Yeah, that I'm not dumping another 700, but it is good to have like all these games, and I'm trying to learn. Well,
yeah.
It'd be helpful for like reviews of the channel, so I could just get that shit knocked out.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Fuck, I just need to sit my ass down and fucking finish. Right, actually, I've got a review written. For a space for the Unbound, I just got to get it fucking recorded. And you're either feeling it or you're not, and that's one of the good things about being an independent YouTuber that doesn't have my fucking hand out for $1 every time I put something out. Is I don't have to worry about a schedule. Like, when I want to put a video out, I put a video out. If I don't want to put a video out, I fucking don't. I just go vibe and live my fucking life. You know, that's
I respect that. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I am a massive addict to content creation, so I am just constantly, because I just fucking am addicted to making them.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with YouTube as a hobby, which is what it's supposed to fucking be. And so,
yeah, I have no interest in pursuing this as a career, just because I just don't trust YouTube.
No, why would you? I mean, like, everybody talks about, like, there's, I talk to peeps all the time. They're just like, well, I want to make it big on YouTube. It's like, there's easier ways to make a buck, man. Trust me. For every one person that does it, and especially, like, look at the space we're in, man. I try to tell people that all the time. It's like, congratulations, you're what, number 1 billion in the world making fucking video game YouTube content? Like, it's a hell of a red ocean to penetrate.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing this for money, you're probably doing it wrong, unless you're like one of the OG legendaries that, like, everybody already fucking knows. Like, just enjoy yourself, and if it takes off, and if you choose to monetize it, if it takes off, you do you. As for me, I've already kind of locked myself in, and I did that fucking deliberately, man, because I don't want that shit. Like, this is a hobby to me. And so what I'll say, literally, on my channel, I'm literally locked in. It's like, yeah, I'll never monetize, I'll never take free games, I'll never take sponsorships. There will never be ads on this. I don't care how small it stays, how big it gets. Not doing the ad thing, not at all, not interested. I just want to, basically, this entire project grew out of trying to kick myself in the ass to actually play video games instead of just talk about them. And so it helps me kind of do my backlog. And so far, so good. I've actually completed, I think this is number 21, I think, for Nintendo Switch games. Space for the Unbound will be.
Nice.
I've also got a Breath of the Wild review coming sometime eventually. And that one's actually going to have video, not just me talking over fucking screenshots. So that'll be interesting. And then Persona 5, I'm working on writing the Persona 5, and then I'm working on playing New Super Mario Brothers U. And I gotta say, man, if you haven't played that one, I'm gonna be a whole lot less harsh on that game than I thought I would be.
Yeah, I totally get that. I just want to get to like 1K, like, because I still see this as a hobby, and it's very yeah, I'm making a little money on this, and I'm doing sponsors
Yeah, and there's
because I have a full time job doing this while doing YouTube, and like my full time job gives me a stable paycheck, and it's just I have anxiety and ADHD, and I'm not gonna like fucking torture myself to get out content for like just money.
no, and that's another thing. It's worth examining because we all use it. Like we all use that word, and that word is content. And I saw a very interesting take. I forget the video. I wish I could shout it out. But basically, they were talking about this word content. Basically, how now we literally devalue the things we create with just the word content. And I say it too. We all say it, but like, there's got to be a better word for that. I know it's all encompassing, but man, there's got to be a better word for that. Not that I'm any kind of auteur artist or anything. I'm a fucking YouTuber, but I do get the guy's point when he says that basically they're commoditizing everything we do, and that's kind of the point. But I'm just a guy that misses that old school internet. Like I love the Wild West, the anonymity of the internet. I see that you do too, by the way. That's part of why I wanted to talk to you when you shot that message out. Is like, you don't have your fucking mug plastered over everything. So that's always good to see. Like the old spirit of the internet still alive. Like anymore, everybody's fucking faces on shit. Everybody's got their hand out for a fucking dollar to monetize. Everybody's got their. It's I'm used to an internet where none of us know who the fuck we are. We just talk about the shit we love, and nobody gets paid for it. So there's no, like, that the guy that you're screaming at across the ether of the internet is a mega Shin Megami Tensei fanboy, because why the fuck else would he be here wasting his time screaming at you over Shin Megami Tensei? There's not a buck to be made. There's not fame to be gained. It's just two fanboys screaming at each other across the ether. I miss that. And so I will thank you. Thank you for giving me a piece of that and showing me it's still alive. Non-face making a goofy expression avatar on the internet. Thank you for that.
No problem. Like honestly, when it comes to monetization, like I can't really see myself doing much out the stuff I make just solely because, why not? Like I don't have, like I've said before, I don't have like dreams of like having constant shirts or mugs or yeah, sure, I made this content. Go watch it. It was fun to make.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Hey,
Hey,
Kaiser.
got Mad Kaiser in here. What's going on, man? Just talking a little bit about the YouTubes. Talking a little bit about the YouTubes, probably pissing a lot of people off. But that's okay. It wouldn't be a liquored up live if we weren't pissing somebody off.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I mean, at most for monetization, maybe a Patreon, maybe, but that's it.
I mean, and I get that. I mean, shoot your shot. Like if you got some fucking, like, part of me, and again, that's why I lock myself in, because I don't want to do that. But there is a huge inclination. It's like to throw a Patreon out there, throw a PayPal link. Fucking sucker wants to pay me to make hobbyist videos on YouTube. Like, sure, knock yourself out. Throw a dime in the tip jar. But I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But again, no, nothing against those that do. It's just not my thing. But I can see why people do it. I mean, if there are people literally willing to throw fucking change in the change drawer for me to make my fucking hobbyist video, like, why wouldn't you do that? You'd have to be some kind of a crazy curmudgeony old motherfucker to not do it. That's kind of what I am.
Yeah.
So we got Kaiser here, we got Belmont here. Yeah, just finally finished the Chrono Trigger review. We're all looking forward to that. There is nothing I like more than watching a newbie play Chrono Trigger for the first time. Like, it's that is going to be incredible to check that out. You have no idea how excited I am for that, Kaiser. So you grew up in the 64 era. Did you ever get a chance to catch up and play Chrono Trigger?
That's on my list at the moment. Right now, I'm playing a lot of other stuff. Like I'm going through the Trails franchise. I'm reviewing all the Kingdom Hearts games. Go and play Chrono Trigger at some point, but I've fucking like 10 games on my list, and I need to get from a channel called One and Done's out, which is where I review like one-off RPGs that never got seen.
Okay. Well, I'm
trying to focus.
I'm slowly digging into Kingdom Hearts. It's a game I never actually played, and now you make me want to play it. And of course, fucking Square Enix has to give us all of them on fucking cloud, you motherfuckers. Ah,
yeah.
So fucking painful.
I do not get it, which is weird to me because outside of like 3 and like Fragmentary, like all of them could have just run fine on Switch. Skies of Arcadia is a great one and done. That's on the
Skies of Arcadia. There's another one that everybody sings about that was one of these fucking GameCube games. Because I by the way, full disclosure, because I know we just linked up, so my entire story is the story of literally everybody on my Twitter feed, and before that, everybody in the hub yelling and screaming at me about how fucking wrong on the Nintendo GameCube I am. And so I'm known for my GameCube bigotry, but I am starting to shed it a little bit. I just played Metroid Prime Remastered and beat that for the first time, and that was fucking cool.
Yeah, GameCube is a very interesting system to me, as I played it and I enjoyed it. Like there were a lot of games on there I enjoyed, but that too, I just because I didn't play a super huge amount of like single player games on. Like I was there for stuff like Smash Bros. Single player stuff was very much on the PS2.
Gotcha. So So in terms of that, you are more of a competitive player on that.
More casual. I liked playing. The only time I got competitive was my brother when he was a asshole win, run around the screaming at a face. It was so anger inducing, but it was.
Oh, we used to play. What was it? The game I did play on the 64 was like GoldenEye 64, I think it was. And we used to play. We always used to play the proximity mines in the fucking stack area. It's like, you motherfuckers. Like they throw the proximity mines on you and they blow up. Like basically.
Yeah, I actually never played GoldenEye.
Yeah, GoldenEye was fun. GoldenEye was a lot of fun. For like crusty boomer shooter, it's pretty goated. Perfect Dark took it to the next level. Perfect Dark was fun. Like those are the games I really remember on the 64. Zelda Ocarina of Time, of course, but again, controversial opinion, not my favorite game in the series, people. So cue the gas.
Oh, it's not mine either.
Oh, that's good. Good. We're Ocarina of we're brothers in hate for Ocarina of Time. Not that I hate Ocarina because I don't. But
I mean, I liked it. Like, I still think it's a great game. Okay. It certainly is definitely worth checking out if you're interested. But like, my favorite is Minish Cap.
Minish Cap. It's a game I've never played, but I hear really good things about Minish Cap.
It's first off, it's gorgeous as all hell. Two, It basically feels like you played A Link to the Past. It feels almost exactly.
I love A Link to the Past.
It's basically like the gameplay is A Link to the Past evolved because you can get like it's so much fucking fun. I've revisited.
Yeah, have to look for that one. Might make me break my rule and actually dive into Nintendo Switch Online if it's on there. Do we know if it's on Nintendo Switch Online?
I believe it is.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, I will.
Let me see.
I might give that a spin.
Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah, it seems like it is.
Fucking awesome. Okay. Well, now that you mentioned A Link to the Past, I'm kind of duty sworn to go give that a go now. So, Let's see here. Skies of Arcadia is a great one and done. Yeah, I watched a review on that. Kaiser says definitely want to play that. And then Rush says cloud gaming makes digital games seem like a fantastic value to the customer. Yeah, funny that. It's almost like that's almost a little bit deliberate. Yeah, the cloud gaming and shit. And then Minish Cap is on the GBA section of Nintendo Switch Online. Rush says you have to buy an expansion pack to play GBA games on Nintendo Switch Online. Yucky darns.
I just recommend emulating it if you don't want to.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm an old school PC gamer. I'll just pirate the fuck out of that. So that's cool. But
yeah, that's what I've been doing for a lot of the game.
I'll find a way to play it for sure.
Yeah, it's actually what I've been doing for my GameCube games because I just don't have.
Yeah, so that brings up how you feeling about this? You can use your gold points to pay for the membership. Oh, okay. Yeah, I keep forgetting about those fucking gold points. Let's see how many I have this time. Thanks, Rush. Thanks for reminding me of that again. I'll emulate it too. No problem for me, dude. The more video game,
Malbelmont gets it.
Yeah, no, dude. The more video game publishers talk, the more video game devs talk about this future this future cage they want to build for gamers, the more it makes me want to break those fucking bars down. And so yeah, like if they go forward with this shit, it's gonna be fucking One Piece up in this motherfucker. We're gonna be sailing the fucking 7 seas, baby. Like try us.
One Piece is pretty freaking good.
Try us. I keep hearing that. And here's the thing, I actually started One Piece, so you'll be proud of me. I did start One Piece. I just got to where they're on the ship with the cook who kicks the fuck out of everybody.
Okay, so you're at Baratie because I'm reading through it for the first time as well.
Okay. Yeah, I really like it so far. I'm a little daunted
it's super
because
fun.
There's like 1,000 fucking goddamn episodes of this thing. But
there's 1,100 chapters. I'm reading it.
Yeah, so a few creators have been encouraging me to read that, read or watch One Piece. Eyepatch Wolf, if you're familiar with his work, Eyepatch Wolf's been encouraging that. Emily from Orbology also been encouraging, saying you got to do this. Check this out. And so there have been people that have been shouting that out. And I finally did start it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So I'll probably keep up with it. I'm just how 1,000 fucking episodes? How?
It is pretty nuts.
But that said, yeah, how do you feel about this all digital fucking cage they're trying to build for us, man?
I'm not a fan. I don't mind buying games digitally myself, but I do not want this to be the standard. People who like collecting things to be able to collect things.
100%. And that's the thing. I'm not anti-digital. What's going on, Nintendo? What's going on? Keita Eris, welcome in.
Hello, Nintendo. Hey, Nintendo. Hey, Key. Hey, Joey.
Yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. Have any questions or anything you want us to talk about? Throw it in there. My drunk ass is always easily bounce from topic to topic for sure. Speaking of which, I did it again. I forgot to tell everybody what the fuck I'm drinking. So tonight I'm sticking with the old standard. I'm sticking with bourbon, and it's specifically Blanton's. Which I always tell people, if you see a bottle of Blanton's on the shelf, buy it for me. DM me. I will send you fucking money. I will send you a finder's fee because that shit is becoming almost impossible to find on the secondary market. Because what happened, and just a quick aside here, Blanton's on the bingo card. God damn it. So what happened here is everybody, all the rich dummies were drinking Pappy's, which I was fine with that. Like, go buy Pappy's. I think Blanton's is better than Pappy's. I'm very adamant about this, and half the price. So I've always drank Blanton's. That's been my favorite bourbon forever, right? Well, what happens is all the yuppies discover Blanton's. They discover Pappy's, and so Pappy's becomes super fucking scarce. And then as a result of that, everybody starts moving down to the next perceived good bourbon after Pappy's, and one of those is Blanton's. And so Blanton's is a casualty of the popularity of the explosion of bourbon and popularity and all these new people coming in. And so they cannibalized the Pappies. Now there's no Pappies left for a price that's under $1,000. And so they move down into the next tier of bourbon, and that's going to be like your Blanton's or your Booker Nose. And so now that shit's becoming hard to find. Your HD Stag, all that's becoming hard to find now. And so, yeah, Blanton's on the bingo card. You betcha. And again, anybody finds a bottle, shoot me a message on Discord or Twitter. We will arrange to get you the market price. That don't pay more than market price, though, because I'll pay you market price plus a finder's fee. If you're going to buy a bottle for $300, $400 fucking dollars, it defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do. Because we're trying to save Zeus some money is what we're trying to do. I can go find a bottle for $300, $400 myself. I can do it right now. I would love to find a bottle for the $79.99 asking price, the MSRP. Assholes. All right, what were we talking about? Okay. Oh, yeah. So we got the chat here. Yeah, watching my good friend Zoo interview our boy Crimson, and Blanton's on the bingo cards where we're at. So we're good on the chat. They haven't hijacked us too much at this point. So, but yeah, I'm with you on that. I want people to be able to have multiple avenues to buy their games. I want people to have access to digital games. I'm not one of these people who wants there to be no digital gaming, but don't take my preferred method away, which is the physical game. Like, don't do that. And also, we've got to start looking at ways to make. I've always said that we need to start redefining what a physical game means. So, for example, everybody's like, there's a lot of physical only peeps, and they're like, I want to play Baldur's Gate 3, but there's no current way, at least not yet. They're working on that, but there's not a current way to own Baldur's Gate 3 physical. And my challenge to that is, oh yeah, I own Baldur's Gate 3 physical. I have an SD card. And I have a copy of Good Old Games, which is launcher free. And that game is on my SD card. So since I have that SD card sitting on my desk, is that not a physical game of Baldur's Gate 3?
Good point, actually.
Yeah. And so that's what I mean. Like, to so many peeps, like a physical game is like a box and a manual, which you don't even fucking get that anymore. You have to go buy a custom made fan manual for edition, which my weirdo ass does that. And shout outs to like Nosy Tegu, shout outs to Kajas Retro. If anybody's into manuals and you missed the manuals of old, by the way, this isn't, again, no sponsorship. This is literally just something I do myself. Just type in custom made Nintendo Switch fan manuals. You will find people doing the Lord's work and like literally making manuals that you can buy pretty cheap too. And again, I'm not gonna highlight anybody because I don't do that. But you can look it up, and if it's something that anybody's interested in, I've got about 12 of them now for Switch games that wouldn't have gotten manuals normally, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's not just about, to me, physical's not just about that shit. Physical is owning the game. It's ownership. So it's something I can take with me. It's something that literally, in order to take it away from me, you'd have to kick my fucking door down and confiscate my collection, which nobody's gonna do. So yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. So Nintendo says, I feel weird with digital games that won't even play a game unless it's physical. It's a me thing. Won't even play a game unless it's physical. I'm the same way, Nintendo. But again, I think my definition of physical is a little different than most of the peeps in this space. But I get you. I totally get you. What is Alan Wake 2? Like, I hear great things about this supposed game called Alan Wake 2. But I don't see where Alan Wake 2 is a thing. So y'all are suffering a mass hallucination. There is no Alan Wake 2. It'd be nice if there ever was one. But I don't know. I hear great things about this non-existing thing. So hopefully it exists eventually. Digital only game doesn't exist on the bingo card. Oh, dude, he is working toward a bingo. We got to get those passed out to peeps too, because it looks like a lot of fun. So Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, the whole cloud thing with Kingdom Hearts, there was no reason they couldn't put each of those games individually on a cart and sold them, and they would have sold a whole lot fucking more on the Switch than whatever the fuck they're trying to do with that cloud shit. Because nobody, I talked to a lot of the Switch community, nobody fucking wants that shit. The journos don't want it, the customers don't want it. Nintendo really isn't the most keen on cloud gaming. Like they'll take it if that's the only thing you're willing to do, but it's not their preference either. Nobody wants this shit, Crimson. So why do we keep getting? Why do they keep trying to do these things?
They assume that if they do it enough, sooner or later, people just stop complaining.
Well, and
in their eyes, if they keep pumping out the product, that's their belief.
well, I can't say it's a non-well-founded belief because I was literally doing the same old man rant when the horse armor came out for Oblivion, and nobody fucking listened. And here we are. What they're doing is they're boiling the frog, man. Like they're not turning the heat up too hot. They did that one time, and it was the Xbox One launch, right?
Yeah,
Where
that was a time.
They tried to throw our asses right in the fucking pot, and we jumped out. But ever since, they've been boiling us. They've been boiling us slow. They've been slowly turning that heat up, and we think we're in a fucking sauna. Not we're in a pot. And
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to be a captive audience. You don't have to be that. Like you can go, you can. So here's a magical thought, guys. You can either really reduce your output of what you buy, or you can. Here's a shocker: not buy any more modern video games. There are enough games out there, if you stopped right now, to last you the rest of your life. I've got over 400 Nintendo Switch cards. Like that's enough to last me realistically the 5 lifetimes at the fucking rate I play games. Like who needs this shit, man?
Yeah, even as someone who likes a lot of the more modern, a lot of the games that have come out, and I can completely understand people being.
Oh yeah, it's a wild time. So how long have you been making YouTube content?
About a year or so, to be honest. I used to be on. I also stream on Twitch as well, pretty much.
Oh, you have a Twitch? Okay,
But
I need to get your Twitch link added to this too in post, and so everybody sees that. I've got your Twitter, and I've got your YouTube channel, but I'll get your Twitch link too.
Appreciate it. Yeah, like that's where I stream a. But pretty much, that's more of my focus is on YouTube. Like Twitch is just sort of a cool place where I can just go and hang out with.
Yeah, I know Belmont does some streaming on there too. So
yeah, people like to drop subs to watch me suffer in games.
What do you say?
This is why we're doing Sonic 06 right now.
Sonic 06. Oh, is it as bad?
Yeah, it was just a. It's a broken mess. It was, funnily enough, it was happening while we were in Star Rail. I was moving off in Star Rail. One of my buddies who joined me in chat was like, "You should play 6 sometime," and I just went out of nowhere. You know what? 10 subs and I'll do it. Like, because I did not think anyone would donate 10 subs to watch me play the game. Because I am a very small Twitch channel. And then out of nowhere, one of my buddies, super cool dude, just gifted 10 community subs. And it's just like, well, we're playing Sonic 06 now.
So you kind of got locked in there. Oh, damn. Like, oh. I've heard that game is infamous.
It is it's something that could have been good, but it's such a broken like mess. Like it's actively a lot of fun to stream. We're just laughing at how busted up. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so it's like dog shit.
But like it's just watching.
but it's like funny dog shit. It's like dog shit, haha, which is,
Yeah. It's so broken. It's just a good time. Like we're just laughing about how the frame rate drops from like 30 to 4. And then just like the glitches get me killed. And instead of just like, it's so fun. It's just such a good time.
There's merit to that. There's definitely merit to that. I would rather play a game that's terrible funny than play a game that is just mediocre. Eyepatch Wolf has this great thing he put out in his what is the name of that show? Riverdale. He did a Riverdale retrospective, right? And he talks about something called the mediocre valley. And so imagine a U curve, okay? So imagine that U curve. And at the left end of things is going to be things that are at the left top of the U is going to be things that are both bad and entertaining. And at the other end of the U curve, at the other end of the U, on the right side of the U, is going to be things that are both entertaining and good quality. So imagine like a Cowboy Bebop there, and on the other end, imagine like something like The Room, which is such a fucking train wreck, but is also entertaining. It's such a train wreck, it actually ends up being good, but not for the reasons that the author intended, right? And then at the bottom of the U is the mediocre valley. And so that's where shit ends up when it's not good and it's not entertaining. Like, I would much rather play something that's dog shit and fun than something that is not a bad game, but also not entertaining. It's just mediocre.
Yeah, that's what I've been dealing with the Yu-Gi-Oh game I've been playing. It's like I'm going to beat it because I promised. But holy hell, it has been the single boring thing I've played this year.
It's like pulling fucking teeth out. Have you ever played?
I literally had to knock the speed up to 150% to make it actually playable. That's how slow everything moved.
Oh, that's crazy. So just slow as slow.
Yes, it is a slow strategy RPG mixed with a slow as shit.
God, that sounds painful.
One mission took me for 2 hours, not because it was hard, but because everything moved so slowly. So I decided, fuck it, I need to learn if to speed things up. Figured that out, and I have not. I just never. No game has ever made me do that before.
Oh. Yeah, that's the kind of games that I really try to avoid. The only one I've played even remotely like that on Switch has been a game called Troll and I.
Heard rumors of that.
Troll and I is not good. Troll and I is not good. Again, do not play Troll and I, chat. Do not play Troll and I. And again, it's not even like a dog shit, funny, laugh at it. There's nothing there. It's just bad.
I've heard the horror stories of that game.
Yeah. Like, or what's the one that everybody just been shitting on? The King Kong game. That just, oh my god.
King Kong game is hilariously bad.
Yeah, that might be on the left hand side of the mediocre valley. So that might actually make it out of the valley. Like, because that was some wild ass shit, man. That was crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like
I know one of my buds wants to stream the Kong game just because.
I'd watch somebody stream the Kong game. Like, I'm not gonna play it, but I would watch somebody else play it and laugh at it, like, for sure. So I guess that would be
true.
If I'm willing to watch it, I can't say it's in the mediocre valley because that is impressive. Like,
yeah, it really is.
Like, that is absolutely impressive. So the problem with not buying more games, sooner or later a new Xenoblade will come out or a Fire Emblem, gotta have them. Well, the good news is Nintendo will probably be the last people to jump into the digital-only future. And it's not because Nintendo is a more moral company or anything like that. It's because Nintendo is a fucking dinosaur and they do everything slow, just like me. So you're probably safe for at least another generation on that, Nintendo. But alrighty, so that said, I guess the next thing I like to do is I've kind of cross-examined you. We've kind of went back and forth asking you questions. I always like to give the guests an opportunity to kind of interview me, ask me any questions you might have of me. Is there anything that comes to mind to ask me?
Yeah, actually, I'm very curious about something. Out of all of the systems, you asked me this earlier. What are your 3 favorites?
3 favorite systems of all time. So I'm gonna go with top 3. It's got to be the Nintendo Switch is number 1. Super Nintendo would be number 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3-way tie, but I got to break it. Got to play. So let's see. So the Wii made me a lot of money, actually, because I was an investor at that time. But that's not really, if I'm being honest, the Wii only got about half its life. It had a half-life because Nintendo started fucking up in the second half of the Wii post New Super Mario Brothers. So that knocks the Wii out of contention. So it's between the Genesis and the NES, and I love both to death.
All right, all good choices in my personal opinion.
I'm gonna have to go Sega Genesis. So it'd be Switch, SNES, Sega Genesis, with a very, very close second being the NES, so close fourth, and then the fifth, the Wii, rounding out the 5.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So shoot, any other questions?
What was the game what would you consider your?
Oh, it kind of broke up there. Repeat that again.
What is your favorite game of all time?
Of all time, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
Interesting choice. I need to play more Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah, ironically, a game that is not on the Nintendo Switch at all. If it ever happens, I will fucking do a backflip. Like even in its base state. Although if you can find mods like Tamriel Rebuilt for it, you absolutely have to. Definitely, 100%. Morrowind is that is a game that changed everything for me. That is the game. Now for some other games that I like, in terms of, so Morrowind just is it's my soul food. It's my comfort food game. It's the game I will always go back to. Some other games would be Mario Brothers 3. Would definitely put Mario Brothers 3 in that category. That's the game that cemented me as a gamer.
It is a fantastic game.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 6, Chrono Trigger, both really, really good. Both the apex of JRPGs to this day. Although I got to tell you, Persona 5 is close. Persona 5 is really close. Have you played Persona 5?
Yeah, Persona 5. Persona 5 was great.
Holy shit.
I loved Persona 5.
I love everything about that fucking game. I would say it goes on a little too long, but that's just
that's
that's the old man in me. I don't like a game to go more than 40 hours of my time. You're starting to really drag shit out if you're going more than 40, 50 hours.
Yeah, I mean that's basically every Persona game.
Yeah, I know. I got
100 hours each.
I got to play 3 and I got to play 4 when they ship from limited runs. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got to.
But I love everything about Persona 5. Like in terms of JRPGs of the modern era, sorry Xenoblade. Like I love all the Xenoblades I've played so far. They're just under that tier, but I would put Persona 5 close to that perfect tier. Like. Outside of the length, outside of the overstaying its welcome, I love the battle system in that game. I adore the cast. I love that fucking cast in that game.
Cast is really fucking good.
Yeah.
Hey, Ink. Ink is a
Ink's
guy who usually shows up on my.
Ink's in the house. Welcome, Ink. Thanks for coming in, man. You're not late. We're probably honestly only at the halfway point here. This is a liquored up live, man. We go as long as we have to. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of I could sing Persona 5's praises all day. I genuinely love that game. Starting to delve into, her name is Lady Virgilia. and she has a analysis of the Persona 5 characters based on Japanese society, which is really interesting because that whole game is basically a critique of Japanese society. And so, like, I'm going through one right now, and it is but oh, it's so good. That's such a good game. Yeah, her content is great, Rush. And yeah, now that I've finished the rough draft of my review, I can finally watch her. I was afraid to watch her. I won't watch any, and this is full disclaimer, I won't watch any YouTubers if I haven't played the game and I plan on reviewing the game, because I don't want, even if you don't mean to, I don't want to have any of their thoughts influence my thoughts. I want to be able to sit down, bang out a review or an analysis. I want to do that myself, and then I'll look at what other folks say. So yeah, I am so sorry I had to be starved of her content for so long. But Lady Virgilia, guys, if you like Persona 5, she has some of the best deep dives into those characters you'll ever see. But anyway,
We'll check her out sometime.
How the fuck did I get on Persona 5? But anyway, oh yeah, best games of all time. So yeah, Dark Souls, definitely. I would put in that category. I adore Dark Souls.
Yeah, same.
Rock Band, cheesily enough, fucking Rock Band.
I never played the Rock Band games.
Well, Rock Band is yeah, you were either there for it or you weren't. And it was because what happened is that market got so fucking oversaturated, we got sick of it. But I remember Rock Band.
Kind of guess.
I remember Rock Band on the Wii being a hell of a good time. Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Yeah. Any other questions?
What is a good question? Are there any games you've been playing recently that you really like?
Yes, New Super Mario Brothers U.
Ooh, I played that and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, hot take. Because apparently this game, like, if you go look, this game gets fucking shit on, man. But and I used to be one of those. Like, my whole thing was when the Wii U came out, I looked at that and I'm just like, nope, New Super Mario Brothers, fucking aesthetic again. I told you, motherfuckers, you can only get away with that once, and that's gonna fail. Actually, I'm on the record. Like, if you go back to the old SNES Hub, like, messages, I'm in there saying that. Like, I'm like, oh shit, this is a 2D Mario, but worried about that aesthetic. And basically, I said at the time when I played that game that, it was, if you look at it on its own, it might be the best introduction to 2D Mario ever. But the problem is we've had 4 of these fucking games now, and everybody's tired.
Yeah.
Everybody's tired of the lackluster music. Everybody's tired of the recycled fucking worlds. Everybody's tired of the cookie cutter graphics. We're tired of it, man. And I was right.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I was right, by the way.
Yeah, and we got Mario Wonder out of that, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, and let's talk about that, because I started out Mario Wonder in terms of being extraordinarily high on it, and that has slowly, just like Tears of the Kingdom, that slowly began to fade away from me. And I can't put my finger on it why that's happening, but I have some theories. But what did you think of Wonder?
Totally honest, it is actually might just be my game of the year.
Holy shit! Okay. So what?
I fucking loved that game. Like,
yeah, and part of it might be the old man in me, because I expect some fucking difficulty. I expect some teeth in a 2D Mario game, and we haven't got that in so long. And to be fair, guys, I'm not getting it with you either. I'm not. But I remember World 8 being fucking hell, and maybe that was because I was like 5 years old. But I distinctly remember playing that game. I play that game about every year, and World 8 and World 7 and Mario Brothers 3 always beat the shit out of me. And I just don't get anywhere near that in any of these new games. None of them. And I was hoping Wonder would have a little bit more teeth. Now let me preface what I love about Wonder. Wonder brings back the literary nonsense to Mario. Wonder is in a new kingdom called the Flower Kingdom. The Flower Kingdom is fucking amazing. I love the Flower Kingdom, man. Love that place. Um, love how they've done interesting spins on the typical plains, fire, frost, desert. I love that. I love the enemy variety. There are literally like every level has its own set of enemies, and the modern enemies are almost there just as flavoring. I love that about it. I love that. I love that there's an entire bestiary that is unique to the Flower Kingdom. I like the badge system. I kind of wonder if it should have just been connected to each of the individual members, and I think that might have been given them each a little bit of a reason to play. I'm not sure, but I love the badge system. I love that you can make it harder with the badges. That's kind of cool. Um, there are whole badges that just make it harder. There's a lot of things, and I love the fucking level design. What I'm not sure about is it seems to me like the entire story of Mario post Mario 64 is the rejection of 3D Mario by the market and Nintendo trying to shove and trying to get 2D Mario fans to purchase and enjoy and love 3D Mario. That seems to be the history of Nintendo post Mario 64. And it's just not happening over and over and over again. I even remember like with Mario Galaxy 2, they literally included like this fucking tutorial DVD to show you how to play it. Like, the problem is that they don't know how to play. No, the problem is we just don't like 3D Mario, guys. We just don't. They gave up on that and they tried to do this bridge to 3D Mario called the Mario 3D Land and 3D World. That also failed. Like, actually, everybody fucking hated those games from all directions. Like, I actually like the 3D Land games for what they are, but if you talk to 3D Mario fans, they're mad at some of the aspects of Land and World. If you talk to 2D Mario fans, they don't like the other aspects of it. So you didn't make it. It's a game that made nobody happy. You know what I'm trying to say there?
Weird, because I fucking loved those games myself as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at them for what they are, and that is kind of a third wheel, kind of a third genre of Mario game. It's neither the 3D nor the 2D; it's a synthesis. But what you have is you have 3D Mario fans that cry about why isn't this the hub type 3D Mario exploration based game, and you've got the 2D Mario fans being what 2D Mario fans have always been, which is, hey, uh, this is bullshit. Where's 2D Mario? That's just how we are. And so I think a lot of peeps miss those games, which is why it's the lowest selling of the three types of series. So you have 2D Mario, far and away the best selling. Then you got 3D Mario, and then you've got distantly below, you've got things like you've got the Mario World and Land games. And again, I liked it. I have critiques, and I actually did a review of Mario 3D World. But I get what they were trying to do. They wanted to build that bridge because the goal is to get 2D Mario fans into 3D Mario. That's the goal. Now, Rush Dog just says in the comments, says Mario Odyssey is sold like hotcakes, though, and that is true. They finally cracked the code with Mario Odyssey. Even I fucking love Mario Odyssey. Like, full disclosure, I fucking love that game. um, but that's Mario Wonder to me seems like they're no longer trying to get it because of Odyssey's success. And I'm going to build that into my thesis here. Because of the success of Mario Odyssey, Nintendo now has that 3D Mario audience they want that is comparable in size to the 2D Mario audience. And so they don't have to do that anymore. So now, what do? We've got we've got a decent sizable audience for 3D Mario, and we've got these 2D Mario games that we don't give a fuck about. So how do we make this fun for us, the developer, so that when we have to make a 2D Mario game, we have fun making the 2D Mario game? And that is where Mario Wonder comes in. What Mario Wonder feels like to me, and I'm not the only one, reviewer after reviewer after reviewer seems to think this. It seems like what they did is they reversed their strategy with 3D Mario, and now what they're doing is they're trying to build the bridge of 3D Mario to 2D Mario. It seems like that a lot of the Wonder effects are shoving 3D Mario type ideas back into 2D Mario. But what do you think of that?
That's a good point. I personally, yeah, I can see why you think that.
And I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But as a fan of those old school 2D Mario games, and playing you has just cemented that for me. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, is this bland ass fucking low rent fucking new Super Mario Brothers type game going to be the last time I see classical 2D Mario gameplay? Because if that's the case, what a shame. What an absolute shame.
Yeah, and then Wonder came out, and it's like, no, we're gonna try to be more whimsical and do our own thing now.
Well, I like the whimsy.
Because reading the devlogs for Nintendo's story of this game, and it's very interesting. Basically, they just admitted, yeah, we basically just let the developers who work put whatever ideas they could think of in here.
Which again, that is perfect for. And again, I love the Wonder. The name is an allusion to the original inspiration for Mario, which is Alice in Wonderland. The effects are fucking bonkers, man. Like, I get it. Like, it's. I guess what I'm trying to say, I wish we could pair the actual fucking platforming of the old school games. Like, so what I'm getting in you right now, I get that feeling. It's like, yeah, this is good. I'm dying several times. It's not as hard as it could be, but I'm actually fucking dying. I like this. I wish we could pair the actual old school platforming of the old 2D Mario games and give it the music and the graphical care and the attention to detail and the whimsy and the literary nonsense world of Mario Wonder. If you could combine Mario U with Super Mario Wonder and combine those two games, that's like a game that would rival World. That's a game to me that would rival Mario Brothers 3. It's like the pieces are fucking there, but they're not putting them together right. It just seems like to me. I think they had to change 2D Mario. Yes, they were. You're right, Nintendo. They were running it into the fucking ground, and I was calling that out on the Wii generation. I said, "Hey, New Super Mario Brothers Wii is fantastic, but Nintendo, you can only get away with this once. You can't continue to just cookie cutter this shit." And that's what happened. New Super Mario Brothers U was the first 2D Mario game that failed to sell a Nintendo console. First time it's ever happened. And it's because of exactly what you're saying. But it's not because of the gameplay. The gameplay, I'm here to tell you, the gameplay in New Super Mario Brothers U is fucking fantastic. It's fucking awesome, man. The problem with you is the bop bop music. It's the cookie cutter aesthetic. It's the recycled enemies. It's all of the dumb shit that we've been trying to tell Nintendo for years. Like, we didn't need that skeleton fix. We just needed the aesthetics. Basically, take all the budget and the care you put into a 3D Mario game, not the 3D Mario concepts, which is what happened with Wonder. Take the budget and the care you put into a 3D Mario game and apply it to a 2D Mario game, and you'll get another Mario 3. You'll get another Mario World. You'll get a Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder is selling fucking fantastic right now. So again, maybe it's just me, old man, griping, because I'm not going to argue with the sales numbers if Mario Wonder ends up being a 30 million plus seller. 40 million plus seller. It should, realistically, that game should do about 40 million copies on the Switch. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
it was
know.
impressive.
Yeah,
I remember in like a day it got 500,000.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. Which a 2D Mario game should. If a 2D Mario game isn't doing that, it's doing something wrong. And I've argued with OJ about this. Actually, the sales on New Super Mario Brothers Wonder, I feel like it's underperforming actually. I feel like it's that given the amount, given the user install base on the Switch, and I expected more. I did not expect Spider-Man fucking 2 to beat that game out in terms. Now, again, that's an apples to oranges comparison, and it's not like fucking PlayStation 5 fans have anything else to play. So of course they're all gonna fucking buy it. But 2D Mario should be losing to nothing except maybe Grand Theft Auto, maybe Minecraft, maybe GTA. There's nothing else. Maybe Tetris. There's nothing else that should be even close to a 2D Mario game in sales. So everybody sees the sales and says, "Hey, these are great." OJ's saying, "Oh, these are great sales. This is going to chart Nintendo's future." And I'm here to say, yeah, those are great sales if it was any other fucking game. But this is a 2D Mario game. This is a 2D Mario game with an unlimited fucking budget and dev time. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. Mario games tend to have long legs. OJ's correct about that. That game will sell and sell and sell and sell. But what I'm really interested to see is the holiday sales, so the next Nintendo financial report. I want to see what it did during the holiday, and then I'll be able to. It's too soon, but then I'll be able to make a more accurate sales comparison to Odyssey, which right now it is outperforming Odyssey, but not by much, and that's alarming to me because usually a 2D Mario game's double what the 3D Mario does.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, the music was so annoying. Yes, it was Nintendo. Fucking annoying music. But no, I don't think anybody out there can say Wonder's a bad game. It is a fantastic game. I loved every minute of my time in Wonder. And these are thoughts that have crept into the periphery of my consciousness as I play another game. So and again, that's why I haven't reviewed Mario Wonder yet. It's too new. We're still in the hype period. We're still in the second guessing period and all that shit. We're going to wait about a year, and then I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play it again, and then I'm going to do an actual review instead of a first impressions. That's the plan on Wonder. But for right now, focused on you because that game's been out long enough. I'm pleasantly surprised with you. And maybe that's why this is happening. But right now, you has overperformed my expectations on what I'm thinking of it. I wonder what Wonder's going to do here in a year's time. Wonder might do the same thing where I play this and I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking mind-bending. This is amazing. But
that was my whole experience with it,
yeah,
to be honest.
Exactly.
With every friggin' second.
And you're not alone in that. Again, part of it might just be a little bit of my cynicism. I think Wonder is a great game. I think it's absolutely a game of the year contender. It's too bad, just like Tears of the Kingdom, it showed up in a time where Baldur's Gate 3 dropped. Like, goddamn, what luck.
Yeah.
What rotten fucking luck, guys. If it was any other year, you would have that. But, here comes this game. One thing I think about Wonder is the canonical pirate piranha plant singing is real. Laugh out loud. That was cool. That was really cool. Now, that said, that stage was one of those stages I'm talking about. Aside from the aesthetics, try to play that stage multiple times and tell me it's fun. That is the whole second half of that stage is literally just an on-rail segment where you listen to piranha plants singing. That's what I'm fucking talking about, guys. That's the kind of shit where, like on first playthrough, it was wonderful. Is it going to be wonderful when I sit down next year for my review of that fucking game, or is that going to be something like, okay, well, that was one and done, and now I'm wasting my fucking time, or will it be magical and I'm just a jaded fucking cynic? I don't know. I won't know till next year, but that's kind of the concern I'm having. That was really cool. That was a really really cool moment, but I can't help but think that you can and you can't rush because they're also used to gate the world, so you can and you can't, and repeat playthroughs of the level. And yeah, you would have to on that one. That would be one Wonder Seed I might choose to skip out on. But then again, in a year's time, I might be like, you know what I want to see? I want to see those fucking piranha plants sing again, and more than likely that'll be what happens anyway. So, because it is cool, it is a really cool thing. Oh goodness, but okay, so yeah, Wonder, great game. We talk about Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, so Baldur's Gate 3 basically, and what I've been trying to tell people about why that game came out of fucking nowhere, because everybody's like, this game came out of nowhere and it caught us all with our pants down. Well, it did, because it did the same thing for me, but it also didn't, because if any of us would have been paying attention to the fucking game's development cycle, we would have listened to Sven Vick, who's the lead at Larian Studios, talking about a little game called Ultima 7. And if we had heard that, if I had actually paid attention to what that guy was saying, I absolutely would have caught that, and I would have been able to tell you guys that was a phenomenon. Now, hindsight's 2020, but like anybody who's talking about trying to replicate the Ultima 7 trajectory in a modern game, Ultima 7, which does things that games still can't do, like it's still the games still can't do what that game did in terms of some of the immersive sim elements to that. The fact that that they were shooting for Ultima 7 as a goal would have told me everything I needed to know about that game being game of the year. Even coming up short, which Sven Bick thinks they did, to Ultima 7, that was an easy game of the year. And so, yeah, now that I've got a chance to play through some of it, holy shit, yeah, that game, there's nothing touching that game. Sorry, Tears of the Kingdoms fans. I'm sorry. Sorry, Spider-Man 2 fans.
I gotta,
Like,
I gotta play Baldur's Gate 3 at some point. I gotta find some time for that.
make sure it's a big chunk of time, man. Make sure it's a big ass fucking chunk of time, because
Then I'll probably just have to save it for next year.
I've got about 70 hours in now, and I'm
Jesus.
just now in the third act.
That is pretty nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wild ass ride. And it deserves every bit of the accolades it's getting. Plus, there's a whole way you can play now, which I've got a friend who's playing through a playthrough. There's a character you can pick called the Dark Urge, which is a special conditions playthrough. And the Dark Urge literally is just a character that has a murderous urge that you sometimes can control and sometimes can't. And it's like a whole nother fucking.
Yeah, I've seen the infamous clip of somebody with Dark Urge explodes.
Yes. Yeah, no,
I was laughing for like a fucking 5 minutes straight when I. Your insanity.
Oh yeah, no, it's something else. So, all righty. Any other questions for me?
I've actually got none.
All righty. Well, I'll be damned, man. Other than that, let's see. I think you'll be surprised when Tears takes Game of the Year. No, I won't. No, I won't, homie. Reason being, Alan Wake will take some of the critics' votes that would have went to Baldur's Gate. Alan Wake. What's that? What's Alan Wake, Nintendo? I don't know what Alan Wake is, but no, it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3. If Tears of the Kingdom takes Game of the Year, not that I care because I don't watch the video game advertisements, but I don't give a shit what Dorito Pope says Game of the Year is anyway. But if Baldur's Gate 3 is not Game of the Year, that's a fucking travesty, and no one will believe it anyway. Like outside of like the fucking Nintendo bubble, nobody will believe it.
Like, I don't really have much of an interest in the Game Awards myself. Like, I mainly because are happening. But like, if I did get the chance, I would have liked to sit down with some friends, like just watched.
Yeah, it's fun. Like
That's
part of me wants to watch for Flute Guy. Like Flute Guy's the best part of that show, and he's back apparently.
Yeah, the Giga Chad.
Yeah, absolute Giga Chad, like absolute fucking. And if you read about that guy, dude, that guy is so interesting. That guy collects like instruments, which I collect instruments too. I have an old antique Chinese iru. I've got like Peruvian flutes. Like my living room is adorned with like instruments on my wall from all kinds of different cultures and backgrounds that are antique instruments. I've got a native drum. I got some cool stuff. And so that guy, I would love to sit down and talk to Flute Guy at some point. That's like a bucket list for Liquored Up Live. So, Flute Guy, if this message ever gets to you somehow, I would there's my fucking bucket list guy to talk to. There's so many people that want to talk to. Oh, I want to talk to Shigeru Miyamoto, or oh, I want to talk to Flute Guy. That's the guy I want to talk to, sit down and have a discussion with, because yeah, he's like he pairs the background of an engineer with like a world-class flutist. I think that would be a fascinating dude to sit down with.
Got to admit, I kind of agree.
I would love to talk to that guy. So Baldur's Gate 3 is a very deep RPG. Most of the journalists didn't play it. Yeah, I agree with that, but most journalists don't play any video games hardly. Like, they don't play the games they review. Or if they do, they play 15 minutes of it. All the more to my point that it doesn't really matter. Even if it happens, it doesn't matter what Dorito Pope and his band of non-gamers say is the game of the year. But you also have to factor in Nintendo that audience expectations, and they're playing to a crowd. The audience expects Baldur's Gate 3 to win. Now, maybe they make the opposite decision for clicks. That could happen. but I would still be willing to bet you. Like I would bet you like I'd bet you pizza money that it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3. So if you want to reply in the chat, maybe we can do a pizza on it. So I will PayPal you funds for a pizza if Baldur's Gate 3 wins, and if Zelda Tears of the Kingdom takes it, or no, I will. Sorry, I'm drunk. If Tears of the Kingdom wins, I will Venmo or PayPal you some pizza money, and you do the same for me if Baldur's Gate 3 wins. Sound like a plan? And if you don't want to do it, that's okay. But I think that would be I think that'd be like kind of a fun community building thing. Is we'll bet a pizza on it. But I don't know. I think you're gonna. Okay. All right. We'll hold each other to it. But I think you just bought me a pizza, Nintendo. And again, I'm a big Nintendo fan too, homie. Like the Switch is my favorite system of all time, but I got to tell you, super fucking jealous that Baldur's Gate 3 ain't on there. Super fucking jealous. Bet some Doritos in honor of Keely. You know what? We'll throw in a bag of Doritos. So, yep. So basically, if one or the other wins, send me the menu and the pizza makeup of your favorite pizza place in town, Nintendo, and I will PayPal over that amount plus a bag of Doritos, MSRP. Same thing with me. You'll get a menu, and I'll shoot my shot. You're gonna get Gabatoni's Pizza, baby. Gabatoni's Pizza, which is it's a little mom and pop here in town. It's the best fucking pizza on the planet, guys. And I've been around. Everywhere I go, I try pizza. I've tried pizza in Chicago. I've tried pizza in New York. I am a Gabatoni's evangelist. I agree. Baldur's Gate is the game of the year.
Never heard.
It will lose though. Okay. Yeah, well, you want. I mean, unless you visited Springfield, Illinois, you'll never. Yeah, it's one spot in the entire world is Gabatoni's. It's just a little mom and pop pizza parlor, but holy shit, homie. There are people that literally travel. There's just people that travel in from all over the country to eat Gabatoni's pizza. Like it's one of those spots here that has. Kind of like the Cozy Dog Drive-In, the Route 66 Cozy Dog Drive-In, kind of like the Chili Parlor. Like there's certain spots here in this town that have like national and sometimes international renown. And then of course the Horseshoe's famous here, so everybody comes here and eats fucking horseshoes. Go ahead.
My favorite pizza place of all time is
Oh, say that again. You broke up there.
My favorite pizza of all time is from Tommy's Pizza. It's another small little place.
Tommy's Pizza. And again, you do not have to share this if you don't want to. But what is the town that Tommy's is in?
Columbus.
Was that in Ohio?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to Columbus. Tommy's Pizza, Central Ohio tradition, 1952. Holy fuck, that looks good. Ooh.
It was a very good pizza place.
Ooh.
What their thing is they do cracker crust, so you get a crackery crust, and I love that.
I love thin crust pizza. That's actually my favorite pizza. That and pan.
It's so
kind
good.
of a toss up between that and pan, but oh, holy shit, that looks good. Yeah, okay. Plans for next time in Columbus, Tommy's Pizza, 100%. Yeah, if you're ever in Springfield, do Gabatoni's. Although we got a few of them. We got Bernie's and Betty's. We got Joe Galina's. Got some good pizza. This is actually a pretty good pizza city, actually. But yeah, I will definitely when next in Columbus, we'll definitely have to try the Tommy's. I've got that bookmark now. So thank you for that. I love pizza. So. Oh goodness. But yeah,
it is really good.
Fucking fantastic. Well, all right. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I guess I have one last question. I always ask my guest at the end of this thing. Did you have fun?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun. Always enjoyed joining podcasts and just chatting with people when I can.
Oh, same here, man. It's it's fantastic. Like that's I'll be honest, if it hasn't kind of derailed some of the reviews a little bit, but I do love just talking to people about games and about our hobby. It's a fantastic, and sometimes other shit, like we've gotten into some other shit, economics, etc. tonight. But always nice to talk to anybody. And again, guys, I'm down to talk to anybody. So anybody in this chat, like if you ever want to just talk, and if you ever want to jump in the pool, just shoot me a message on Twitter. You know where I'm at. Willing to talk to any of you guys. We'll shoot the shit for as long as you want to on video games. I have no problem. So let me just scan the chat, see if there's any
It was
other
all.
questions real quick. And so it looks like we had the great pizza bet. And let's see here. And
it was nice to meet everybody in chat. Thank you all again for having me, and see you around.
No problem. Yeah, take care.
It was nice meeting all of you.
Take care, guys, and you have a great have a great rest of your night, guys. I love you all. Now get out of here, and if you want to stay on for a quick denouement, we'll go ahead and end the podcast. But thanks a million, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right.